Welcome to Hard Talk. I'm Stephen Saka. Kenya has big ambitions to be the economic and infrastructure powerhouse of East Africa. But that can't happen without political stability. And right now, there are worrying signs of factionalism and fragmentation at the top of Kenyan politics. My guest is William Ruto, two-term deputy to President Uhuru Kenyatta. Their partnership has papered over many political cracks in Kenya, but is it starting to crumble? Deputy President William Ruto, welcome to Hard Talk.
Thank you very much, Stephen Saka.
Let us talk about the security situation in Kenya. Last month saw another jihadist attack in Nairobi. 15 people were murdered. Why is the Kenyan government seemingly incapable of eliminating the threat posed by Al-Shabaab and the jihadists?
Terrorism is an international challenge. No country in the world has ever claimed to eliminate terrorism. We keep working at it. What I can tell you, Stephen, is that we are getting better at dealing with this challenge. If the response of Dusit 2 attack was anything to go by, the response time was 7 minutes. All systems were there. In fact, in our opinion, we scuttled what these characters wanted to achieve and minimized their what they managed to achieve.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would argue that the security response after the attack was initiated was much better than that seen in the horrible Westgate shopping complex attack, which is now more than 5 years ago. But really, the trouble seems to be that in terms of intelligence and basic counter-terrorism, Kenya is still not getting it right. And there are security sources in East Africa who say that your lack of cooperation with Somalia and other neighboring countries is jeopardizing the security of your citizens.
Far from what you have said. In fact, the improved security situation in our region. Remember that this attack is coming way after many months and years after what happened in Westgate. Telling you that in between,
what lessons have you
we
actually
have
learned?
managed to resist, to eliminate, to thwart many attempts that were made. And for the record, we are cooperating with many countries, the UK, the US, our regional partners. In fact, our position in Somalia is actually solid. In fact, it is partly what we are doing in Somalia under AMISOM that is actually minimizing them. Otherwise would be many attacks in our region.
Is it true, as reported in the Kenyan media, that there were multiple warnings passed to your government in the months before the January 15th attack?
These are routine.
Is it true?
These are routine alerts, and we took those alerts seriously, and we continue to take alerts seriously, and that is why we have managed to contain that situation to a minimum.
Do you think it is useful in terms of the counter-terror strategy of your government to abuse human rights? Because there is no question, looking at Human Rights Watch's recent report, Amnesty International as well, it is beyond doubt, I think, that you are using arbitrary detention, sometimes torture, a series of serious human rights abuses as part of your counter-terror strategy.
That is far from the truth. We are a democratic nation. We have since moved the country to a new constitutional dispensation. Human rights is at the heart of the new constitution and informs every government decision and approach that we make on dealing with insecurity.
Okay, well, if the government spokespeople, after the publication of the last Human Rights Watch report, said that any abuses would be looked into, and there was a catalogue of extrajudicial killings, enforced disappearances, arbitrary detention and torture. So you tell me, since the report was published some time ago, what has the Kenyan government done in terms of accountability for those in your security forces said to be carrying out these activities?
The Independent Police Oversight Authority has the requisite constitutional and legal powers to take charge
Who's been held to account?
Any investigations that are in that direction.
Who's been held to account?
Those people making those claims need to step forward, provide the evidence to independent oversight authority. It's not the police anymore that are investigating themselves. We have independent institutions that have constitutional power to make sure that this happens.
How many members of your security forces have been held accountable for abuses?
In most cases, today it is normal for policemen to be held to account. Unlike in the past, we have records that exist of police officers who have been
Isn't the
taken
truth,
to court.
Mr. Deputy President, that nobody's been held to account for abuses in your counter-terror operations?
Can I ask you, are there proven, if there were proven incidences of police that have been held culpable for human rights abuses and they have not been prosecuted, I would be happy to know where is the evidence? Are there incidences where police, there is evidence, there is documented information on abuse, and yet prosecution has not been done? I would be happy to know, and I can promise you we would take action.
Just a final thought on the security situation. You referred to Kenya's commitment to the UN presence in Somalia, and of course Kenya launched its own massive military operation inside Somalia in 2011. So for many years, Kenya has been committed to trying to deliver security in Somalia. It has to be said, for all of those years, all the resources and commitment, it's not working. So what is your long-term strategy for Somalia?
We have taken the position that this is not a Kenyan decision to make. This is a Kenyan and international decision. We are responsible partners under AMISOM. We will work with other countries, the initiative under the UN, to make sure that we secure Somalia. We have a vested interest as Kenya because these are our neighbors.
So if I may just shorthand it, you're telling me that your military commitment in Somalia is open-ended. Indefinite.
It is indefinite until we are certain that Somalia is safe. Up until Somalia is safe, it would be reckless for us to walk away from a threat that threatens our country.
Okay, so we've dealt with one aspect of Kenya's current situation. And of course, Kenya and your government committed to an agenda which you call the Big Four agenda of establishing in your country universal healthcare, affordable housing, food security, and real growth in manufacturing. That's what President Kenyatta has committed your administration to. So, of course, you need security stability. You also need political stability. If we look at the political situation inside the government today, it is riven by factionalism, by jockeying for position, and you in particular are seen as somebody who has, in a sense, lost that solid partnership with President Kenyatta, and that is now seen as a source of tension.
Let me tell you for the record, the understanding between me and President Kenyatta is rock solid. We know where we were, we know where we are, and we know where we're going. Our assembling of the Big Four was informed by the success that became of our program and country over the last 5 years. We have a solid track record to rely on. As SGR that we built 600 kilometers, electricity connections ranging to 6.9 million. We have a whole universal healthcare program we've rolled out.
Mr. Deputy President,
without a doubt.
You have grand ambitions and you have big targets. The problem is there is a cancer eating away at your government, and you know full well what it is. It is corruption. The Auditor General of Kenya said in the middle of last year that high-level corruption across all levels of government in your country threatens the integrity and basic functioning of the state.
The government, as it is constituted today, is singularly focused on the big four. We have made that clear.
But you can't deliver on your focus if you have this cancer of corruption eating away at the state.
We have taken corruption head on as a government. In fact, there is no government after independence that has taken corruption seriously as the Jubilee administration.
I don't know how you can say that, Mr. Deputy President. How can you say that when your own Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission released a national survey recently which found, and I quote, the figure for those who pay bribes and for receipt of government services has risen to 62%. 62%.
Let me tell you, Saka, if there is an administration that has taken the fight up against corruption to a level that has been unimaginable, it is this administration.
But with respect to that's just words. Look at actions. Look at the fact that even the most signature infrastructure projects, like, for example, the China-funded railway between Nairobi and Mombasa, it's being undermined by senior government officials who are on the take, who have been convicted in the last year of taking systematic bribes.
For your information, in fact, you have given an example of how successful our anti-corruption mechanisms are bearing fruit. Any person involved in corruption know today in Kenya that they will not escape our dragnet.
On the 22nd of August, the Ipsos polling organization asked Kenyans which politicians in your country they believe to be corrupt. People were asked, and this is the question, of all the current and past but alive political leaders you can think of, which one do you think is the most corrupt? Guess who came out on top?
Your guess is as good as mine.
You. 33% chose you.
Absolutely.
William Ruto.
Yes.
Why do you think you are seen by so many Kenyans as being the epitome of a corrupt politician?
If you look at that list, they put William Ruto, they put a former president, they put the current president, they put the current prime minister, the former prime minister. Largely, all the political leaders that exist today in Kenya were in that list, in that order.
And what does that tell us about the political culture in your country?
That tells you that the whole corruption narrative has been politicized. That is what it boils down.
That's not what it tells me. It tells me that your citizens have absolutely no faith in all of the words that you and others give to me about your pledge to clean up the country, to deliver on anti-corruption. They don't believe a word of it.
We have the fight against corruption on the eyeball. And I want to tell you that the country today believes strongly that this government, this administration, is serious about the fight against corruption.
Tell me about the Western Hotel.
There are results that are clearly bearing fruit. The number of prosecutions, the number of convictions, if they are anything to go by, it tells you that the country has changed the trajectory on matters to do with corruption.
Tell me about the Western Hotel, which you own, which is worth an awful lot of money and which is sitting on illegally acquired land.
Western Hotel is a big story.
It is. Kenyans are following it very closely, and it may be why you're top of that poll.
You will want to believe that Western Hotel occupies half of Nairobi. Western Hotel sits on 0.7 hectares of land.
Illegally acquired
70,000
land. Which actually belongs to the Civil Aviation Authority, and then you miraculously acquired it and built a hotel.
For your information, Western Hotel was bought.
Illegally?
Not bought illegally. In fact, for the record, the National Land Commission has made a finding that Western was an innocent purchaser for value from somebody who got it illegally. And reparations have been made constitutionally to restore that land to Kenya Civil Aviation Authority by demanding that those who sold the land to us must pay
Just on this point of trying to persuade the Kenyan public that you and other people at the top of politics in Kenya are committed to the anti-corruption fight and, frankly, to integrity at the top of government, why have you not followed the president's instruction in what he calls a lifestyle audit to actually go public with all your wealth and assets, itemize all of it and show it to the Kenyan public? You haven't done it, have you?
For the record, I am the only politician in Kenya who has been subjected to a lifestyle audit. No other politician.
So can we now see the audit? Have you made it public?
The audit was done by the media. It is in the public domain. In fact, what has happened is that there is, at the moment, we are all working on getting a legal framework where lifestyle audit can be conducted for every public servant.
So you have published your, because I'm not sure that Kenyans know this. You're telling me that you have.
It was done by the media.
No, but this has nothing to do with the media. This is a form that all public officials are supposed to file, giving all of their assets and their sources of wealth. So if you've got it, I would love to see it.
You are behind the news on that matter. You are behind the news. Every public figure, by law, is supposed to submit a list of assets and liabilities to the Speaker of the National Assembly. That I have tried. That I have not tried. That I have done. And in fact,
but you keep telling me, the media have done it for me. This is not a question of the media. I'm just telling you,
the media has gone further to carry out a lifestyle audit on William Ruto, the only politician who has been subjected to lifestyle audit by the media.
So when you did the sums and you catalogued all of your assets, how much were you worth?
That information is available in the public domain.
Well, great.
You should have done some research before you can.
But if it's in the public domain, it's not a secret. So tell me, how much are you worth?
It is in public domain, Shaka. I encourage you to go to Google and find out what William Ruto owns.
Will you or will you not tell me, given that you say you've been completely open and public with it, and that every Kenyan knows this figure, according to you, share it with me.
I encourage you, Shaka, to go to the website on Parliament and get that information.
So you're not prepared to tell me how much you are worth?
I am prepared to tell you where to find the information, Shaka.
Do you think that position you're taking with me makes any sense?
Of course it does. It doesn't make sense to you?
Not really, because you're telling me you've been completely open and transparent, and yet you won't tell me how much you are worth.
Why don't you want to do your homework?
Oh, I'm very keen on doing my homework.
Please do your homework,
Saka. I'm very keen on homework.
And get the numbers. And I want to promise you, when the legal framework is established, finally, by all of us as government, William Ruto will submit himself to lifestyle audit. I have nothing to hide. I have earned every cent that I own.
See, I'm a little confused because you say you have already done it.
In a transparent manner.
You say you've already done it, and now you tell me in the future tense that you will commit yourself to lifestyle audit. I'm very confused about whether you've actually done it or
not. What the law provided, Saka, if I can educate you a bit, what the law provided for is that everybody must submit the list of assets and liabilities to the Speaker when you're running. We have since elevated that to the next level, that there must be a lifestyle audit, and the legal framework is being worked out for it. But what I told you is that the media has already carried out a lifestyle audit on me.
What did you feel when the deputy chairman of the party in which you have been a part with Uhuru Kenyatta ruling Kenya, the Jubilee Party, the vice chairman of this party, resigned from his post saying that he felt there was an unacceptable conflict of interest, as he now felt he had to join a legal case against you to ensure that you could not run for president in 2022. People close to Uhuru Kenyatta have completely lost faith in you.
The person that matters to me is Uhuru Kenyatta. For your information, the vice chair, the one you are referring to, walked away.
David Murathi, yeah.
David Murathi, because he overreached himself and said things that wanted the country to believe that that was the position of Uhuru Kenyatta when it was not.
Murathi says you are not fit to be Kenya's next president.
There are very many people who are opposed to my candidature, but there are millions who believe that I am fit for the job. And I want to tell you that it will not take one person or a gang or a group to decide who becomes president of Kenya, or for that matter, who becomes the candidate of Jubilee. It will take the entire Jubilee party leadership and party membership, and it will then take 45 million Kenyans to decide who become president.
But you see, if one looks at politics in Kenya today, we see faction fighting. We see, according to the Nation newspaper in Nairobi, that inside the Jubilee Party, which you refer to, your ruling party, there are now different factions, and that you have a group of young activists working for you called the Tanga Tanga Group, who are now actively seeking to push your candidacy for 2022. What is going on?
Let me tell you, Jubilee is focused. The last 5 years, we did a tremendous job. These 5 years, we will do even better. And for your information, we are focused. What you read there is stories, newspaper stories, people trying to sell newspapers using fake headlines and fake
But with respect,
news.
It's not stories.
And for your information, all that has no basis at all.
It's not stories. When the president himself said very recently of the next candidate for the ruling party for president, he said the public will judge the potential candidates for president in 2022 based on their policies rather than any political party affiliation or where in the country they come from. In fact, it does look, given that he's just appointed the Interior Minister to chair the key committee supervising the government's big ambitions, as though you've been sidelined.
Those sideline stories are stories that have no basis at all. The functions of deputy president, the functions of a deputy president are in the Constitution.
But if the president no longer trusts you...
The president and I agreed on how we are going to make government much more efficient and to deliver.
His committee has been instructed to supervise all the key government projects and ambitions in the Big Four agenda. Not you, him.
His committee is a cabinet committee. That committee reports to the president and myself. How on earth can you talk about sidelining if the same committee ultimately reports to the president and myself?
We remember the political violence, the ethnic and tribal violence that came in 2007 and 2008, when frankly Kenya was close to tearing itself apart because there were leaders who were representing their factions and their tribe rather than the national interest. With all of this factionalism and jockeying for position that I have just discussed with you, isn't there a danger that Kenya will fall back into that very dangerous situation?
For your information, Jubilee Party is made on this firm and strong foundation that we will never go to personality cults, ethnic politics, and tribal groupings. And that is why the Jubilee Party, for your information, it is not for me or indeed any other person to decide who becomes the candidate for Jubilee in 2022. It will be the party, under the chairmanship of Uhuru Kenyatta as the party leader, that we will agree on who to front for the leadership of Kenya. For your information, we are encouraging our competitors who continue to be in factional parties to assemble themselves into a national political party that can take on Jubilee, which is a national political party. Our philosophy between President Uhuru Kenyatta, myself, and the Jubilee administration is to make sure that we assemble a national political party that will take the country to the next level and avoid the pitfalls of the past, where politics was around personalities, around ethnicities. Politics must be about issues, about programs, about taking the country forward.
William Ruto, we have to end there, but thank you very much for being on Hard Talk.
Thank you very much, Saka.